This is VSiN PrimeTime. Live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Good. Back here on VSiN PrimeTime. I'm Scott Seidenberg, coming to you here from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas. We have playoff action going on the ice between the Maple Leafs and the Panthers, and between the Celtics and the Knicks in the NBA. We are in the second intermission in Toronto. The Maple Leafs lead the Panthers 3-2 as they have rallied from behind to tie the game, or to take the lead at 3-2, scoring late in that second period. And so we are waiting for the third period to begin. Right now we have a live line of Leafs minus 300. You can get the Panthers at plus 220, probably north of that. Your live total is at 7.5. And looking at the goal scorers right now for your prop betting interests. First goal of the game was scored by Sasha Barkov, gave the Panthers a 1-0 lead. Max Pacioretty tied it late in the first period on the power play, both of those on the power play, so 1-1 score there. Brad Marchand scored just 15 seconds into the second period. William Nylander tied it for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Max Domi scored with 3 minutes left in that second period, and that's where we are, 3-2. Toronto leads the Panthers. Coming up about a half an hour or so from now, it'll be game one between the Stars and the Jets from Winnipeg, where we have seen some movement. The Stars were a favorite when this game opened up. It has now been pushed, or it has been bet to the Winnipeg Jets as a minus 115 favorite in this game. And a lot of the reason, or I believe the main reason here, is because Mark Scheifele is scheduled to return for the Winnipeg Jets. Their assistant captain, one of their top scorers, in fact, one of the top scorers in the entire NHL, Mark Scheifele, looks to be back on the ice. He's missed the last 2 games for the Winnipeg Jets. Scheifele this year, just looking at the top 10 goal scorers in the entire NHL, he was 8th in the league in goals. Kyle Connor of the Winnipeg Jets was 5th in the NHL in goals. But Scheifele being back, it looks like they say that Mark Scheifele, Josh Morrissey, one of their key defensemen, and Logan Stanley were all originally thought to be out, and then it was announced earlier today that they would be game time decisions, and it looks, based off the latest that I'm seeing, is that at least Scheifele is going to be back on the ice. Here's your projected lineup that was tweeted out by the Maple Leafs earlier today, and no Morrissey in that lineup, but Mark Scheifele was your first-line center in the tweet that the Winnipeg Jets had tweeted out earlier today. So I think that that's the information that is starting to leak out, that we are seeing the reason why money has come in on the on the Winnipeg Jets in this game. Meanwhile, Jason Robertson is a game-time decision. The Stars are already, they've been without both Jason Robertson, one of their top scorers, and Miro Heiskanen, one of their top defenders, if not their top defender, for the entirety of this postseason. Both guys got hurt later in the year, and the reports is that Robertson could be back for this game tonight. I think that was a little bit of optimism as to why the line was in favor of the Dallas Stars, because you had a banged-up team in the Winnipeg Jets, still without Mark Scheifele, and with Morrissey being out, and then with Jason Robertson scheduled to come back. A lot of people were saying, hey, or maybe in my belief, you know what? Hey, yeah, we're going to bet the Dallas Stars. They should be favored in this one. But it is official. He is a game-time decision. Haven't seen the Stars post anything just yet, but we do know is that they did post, the Winnipeg Jets did, they did post their lineups earlier, and Mark Scheifele was in their lineup. So, Scheifele back, Robertson not sure, Heiskanen still out for the Stars, and right now, as we are a half an hour away from puck drop there in Winnipeg, the Jets a minus 115 favorite over the Stars as we await the third period to begin here in Toronto between the Maple Leafs and the Florida Panthers. Coming up in about 10 minutes or so from now, we're going to be joined by Reid Wilkins from Edmonton Sports Radio. We'll talk about the Edmonton Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights as the Oilers stole Game 1 from the Knights here in Vegas. It was the first time in VGK's postseason history that they lost a game in which they had a 2-goal lead in. They were 26-0 when having a 2-goal lead in a playoff game. Make that 26-1 now with the loss. The Knights and Oilers will get underway Game 2 tomorrow here in Vegas, and the Knights are a -135 favorite. That's down from the -140 to -145 that they were in game number 1. NBA action as the third period is just getting underway there in Toronto between the Leafs and the Panthers. We'll update you on what happens if we get a goal from the Panthers to tie the game, or if we get a goal from the Leafs and the game gets pushed over that total of 5.5. But looking good right now as your live total is at 7.5. Meanwhile, in the NBA, the Celtics have an 85-76 lead over the Knicks with 5 minutes to go in regulation. Your live line right now is the Celtics -9.5 with a live total of 184.5. So to begin this, to begin the third quarter, the Celtics went out on a run. They had a 20-9 lead in that third quarter as they pushed their lead up to 20 points. And that's the same lead that they had in game number 1 when the Knicks came all the way back to win. The Knicks surged at the end of this third quarter with an 11-3 run and pulled themselves a little bit closer, pulled themselves within 12. And right now, the Knicks have a 15-13 lead now. It was 15-10, but it was 15-13 lead. Now 18-13 as they just sink a 3. Jalen Brunson makes the 3. 86-79 as the Knicks are coming back here. 4:35 left. The Knicks did steal game 1 once again after being down 20. And the Celtics in jeopardy right now if they don't pull this out here in the final 4 minutes of having it happen once again, blowing a 20-point lead. Knicks are starting to make some threes, but they're still shooting poorly, just like we expected it to calm down. They weren't going to shoot as great as they did in game number 1. They are 8 of 26 from three-point range. That's still 30.8%, and that's better than what we've seen from the Celtics right now, who are 10 of 38 from three-point range. That's 26.3. But what we've seen in this game, which is why we are, pretty much at this is a stone cold under game. I mean, there's no doubt about it. This game's going under the total. Your live total right now is at 181.5. The reason being, and we can look it sometimes is as simple as this. The refs are just let them play this entire game. Now, I've only been watching here, on my screen as I'm doing this show, and I have seen, I talked about it earlier in the first quarter, Karl Anthony Towns was arguing with the official almost after every play. But just looking at the box score, the Celtics 10 of 13 from the free throw line, the Knicks 5 of 7. We've only had 20 free throw attempts in this entire game. That's how you get to an under, is you let the teams play physical defense and you swallow the whistle. Whereas earlier we've seen other games in this series, in these post playoffs that have had 70 free throw attempts. In game number 1, which was still an under game miraculously despite going over. I mean, that's going to happen when you miss 45 threes. But in that game, it was, 57 free throw attempts. So 57 free throw attempts in game number 1 of this series. In game number 2, we've only had 20. I mean, just think about that. If you had the over in this game, you literally missed an opportunity for 30 more points in this game. Now, I'm not saying everyone's going to go perfect from the free throw line, but 30 attempts in the NBA, you should hit 25 of them. That's 25 more points that you could have had in this game. Meanwhile, the Celtics can't hit a shot, and the Knicks have come back even more. It is 86-81 now with 2:43 to go in regulation, and we are running the risk, dare I say, of overtime. And I hate to say that, but I know Zachary Cohn joined us earlier from VSiN.com. He's on the over. I'm just on the Knicks team total to go under, and I got an 18-point cushion right now. The Knicks only scored 8 points when they played into overtime in the last game, so I think I'm okay if this thing does go to OT, although you never want to say that. I just want to hit the bets. But I did lay it with the Celtics in the full game, and right now, 86-82. The Knicks have dominated this fourth quarter, 21-13. This could be another all-time collapse from the Boston Celtics. I don't consider this one as epic as the last one because the 20-point lead was a little early. I mean, you're up 20 in the third quarter. You got to win that game. And, I mean, the Celtics, they continue to chuck up threes and they continue to miss. 10 of 40 from three-point range right now. I mean, my goodness. They have attempted, they are 33 of 89 from the field. Points inside the paint. They do have 40 points inside the paint. Knicks have 38 points inside the paint. Turnovers, even, 16 apiece. Rebounds, pretty even. I mean, the Celtics out-rebounding them 49-42. But you got to make a shot. My goodness. The inability to make a shot here for the Boston Celtics, this could be an all-time epic collapse once again. Oh, my goodness. We are going to sweat out these final 2 minutes together here. But first, let me remind you guys, you can take your betting to the next level with First Bet, whether it's Santa Anita, Gulfstream Park, or Pimlico. First Bet puts the action at your fingertips. Sign up now at firstbet.com. That's the number one, stbet.com, and use promo code VSiN200 to score a 20% rebate on all your wagers for the first 60 days up to $200. Don't miss out. Bet smarter today at firstbet.com. We roll on here. I'm Scott Seidenberg. It is VSiN PrimeTime right here on the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Scott Seidenberg back here with you. This is VSiN Primetime right here on the Sports Betting Network as the drama is heating up. The Celtics are in jeopardy of blowing a 20-point lead for the second consecutive game, and they have just done it. With a minute 52 left, the New York Knicks have taken a lead 87-86, the first lead in the game for the Knicks. 87-86, down 20 points. They have come back to take the lead. There's a minute 39 left as this is going to be an all-time collapse from the Boston Celtics for the second consecutive game. 10 of 40 from three-point range. That's how you blow it here. Meanwhile, on the ice, the Florida Panthers have tied the game against the Toronto Maple Leafs 3-3 with 14 minutes to go in the third period. Speaking of the ice, let's head out right now to the Progressive guest line. Joining us here on VSiN Primetime is Reid Wilkins from Edmonton Sports Radio. The Oilers and the Golden Knights will continue their series tomorrow here in Vegas. Reid, thanks so much for joining us here on VSiN Primetime. And as I just intro you, the Toronto Maple Leafs have scored a goal. And it is now 4-3, I believe, Maple Leafs over the Panthers. Quite the entertaining series there in Toronto, right, Reid?
Well, you're right. I would. I think you could expand that, and I know you know you could too. Like, what a playoffs so far. I mean, like, don't step away from the TV, which I foolishly did to do this interview. I'm visiting my parents, and I went to a quieter part of the house, so I missed that goal. But I mean, this is just wild stuff. I mean, obviously, the way the Jets won Game 7, the Oilers and Kings series with all the comebacks, usually by the Oilers in those games, and then even what Edmonton did last night to the Golden Knights. And I really think what we're seeing here is the continued blossoming of an offensive era in the National Hockey League that we've probably been in for maybe a decade, but I think the last 3 or 4 years we've really seen it explode. Power plays, several power plays, flirting with 30%. The Oilers were over 30% 1 year. And just the comebacks that are happening more and more often. Look, you know what it was like in the late 90s and early 2000s, a 2-goal lead. It was lights out. It was clutch and grab. Goalies were great. The equipment was unregulated. It was game over. And now a 2-goal, like I look at it, if a team blows a 2-goal lead, I don't think it's fair to say they blew the lead. Like it's hard to hold on to a 2-goal lead with the way the teams can push the pace and all the offensive players that they have. I think you got to get up 3 to really make a difference. And, I think that's one thing that haunted the Golden Knights last night. They couldn't make it 3-0 against Edmonton.
Yeah, for the first time in their playoff career, the Knights lose a game in which they had a 2-goal lead. They had been 26-0 in their postseason career, albeit it's only been a few years since the franchise has been around, but 26-0 with a 2-goal lead in the playoffs up until that loss last night. Seeing all these goals being scored, Reid, and I don't know what your take is, I'm afraid to bet an under. And usually, I'm an under guy. I'm an under guy when it comes to these playoffs, but we have the multiple empty net opportunities. We have teams that are in this, never say die situation like we saw with the Winnipeg Jets, scoring twice with the extra attacker. I am scared off of betting any unders now. It's just overs or pass for me.
Unless I don't know if I would bet an under unless they start going up to 9.5 or something with the lines. And you said it. And that's the one thing. I guess basketball and football, you could say, have garbage time to an extent where you might have some subs in, or I know there's always a late field goal in football that could irritate people. But hockey has the empty nets. Okay, so let's say a hockey game. Let's say it's 4-1 in a playoff game. The coach that's trailing, it might pull his goalie down 3 because why not, right? And so many goals are scored 6-on-5 now. I think teams are better 6-on-5 than ever, like I said, because of all the offensive players and coaches that coach offense and prepare their players in those situations. Okay, so let's say you got a line of 5.5, 6.5, and you got a 4-2 game, 4-1 game. That coach might pull his goalie down 3. Certainly down 2, he's going to pull the goalie. You get one empty netter, or the team scores a 6-on-5 goal, and then the other team responds with an empty netter. You could easily have 2 or 3 goals being scored at one end or the other in the last 5 minutes in a 6-on-5 situation. And again, just look at what happened. So the Jets do it twice in the last 2 minutes of Game 7. In the Edmonton-LA series, the Oilers lost Game 1. They scored 2 goals, 6-on-5. Remember, they were down 5-1 or 5-2. They got to 5-3, pulled the goalie, got 2 goals. They tied it with Bouchard's goal in Game 4. And then don't forget, the LA Kings scored a 6-on-5 goal in Game 6 before they were ultimately eliminated. So, 4 of them in a 6-game series. It's increasingly common, and I think you make a great point. I would be avoiding that under unless they start raising the lines.
Yeah, Paul Maurice burned me earlier in this postseason. The one loss they had to the Lightning, they were down 4-1. I had the under 5.5, and he pulled the goalie down 4-1, and the Lightning scored the empty netter to win 5-1. So I did get burned there earlier, Reid, as we're talking to Reid Wilkins from Edmonton Sports Radio on the Progressive Guest Line. I'm Scott Seidenberg here on VSiN PrimeTime. Let's get into the night series against the Oilers, and what a postseason it has been for the Oilers. We know about their offensive firepower. We know. And we saw it against the Kings. And I'll be honest, I'm the first one to admit I was wrong about that series. I took the Kings. I took the plus 115. I thought that was a disrespectful price considering the Kings had home ice advantage and they were the best home team in hockey this year. And Darcy Kemper was otherworldly on home ice this season. Down 2-0, the Oilers absolutely dominated the next 4 games. And you mentioned it earlier. Down 2-0 last night. They dominated the entirety of that game. Can the Oilers continue to win with offense? And I know they got okay goaltending last night from Pickard, but you would agree, Reid, that's the weakness of this team right now is between the pipes.
Well, the overarching question I feel like you asked me is, can the Oilers continue to win? And I would say yes. If you're asking me, can they continue to win with offense, I would say no. But I think this is a pretty good defensive team. I wouldn't say it's an elite defensive team, but I do think when they don't beat themselves, they're a pretty tough out. And I think when the Oilers struggled in the regular season and even when they fell behind against the Los Angeles Kings, there were a lot of self-inflicted wounds, bad coverage, bad back-checking, leading to odd man rushes, out-and-out silly turnovers, by defensemen trying to go up the middle and not making a safer play with the puck. I hear what you're saying about the Oilers goaltender, Stuart Skinner. who, blossomed over the previous couple of years, struggled most of the year. He's been replaced by Calvin Pickard, who's the very definition of a journeyman goaltender. So I think the Oilers have to put in the work to make it as easy as possible as they can on their goaltender, and then just get big saves when needed, which for the most part Pickard has given them over the course of this 5-game winning streak. And then, you look at, it's interesting you mentioned that about the Kings line and why the Kings were favored. And I get all that. But here's what has changed for the Oilers in the postseason. They have 3 players contributing that they didn't have in the regular season or didn't have to that level. Vander Kane missed the entire year with multiple injuries, came back in Game 2 against LA, maybe has been the Oilers' best all-round forward since he came back. Trent Frederick was acquired in a trade at the deadline, played a grand total of 7 minutes for the Oilers in the regular season. Came back from injury, like they acquired him injured, came back, he got hurt again, didn't come back until the postseason. He's been very effective in a bottom 6 role. And then halfway through the season, the Oilers signed former Dallas and former Leafs defenseman John Klingberg, coming off hip surgery, and he didn't play very well when he did play. He got hurt again, and now he's in the lineup, and he looks almost as good as he did when he was in with his prime with the Dallas Stars, getting back, retrieving pucks, moving it up the ice. If they gave out 3 assists in hockey, he would have got the 3rd one on the game-winning goal because he made a great pass through the neutral zone to get it started to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. So it's, fair question, but I think, they've rounded out the lineup a little bit. And then you also have the playoff savvy coming into it. Like, I know they haven't won the Cup. They've played more playoff series than anybody else over the last 3 years. And I think we're seeing that playoff savvy. 2 words I would use to describe the Oilers so far in the playoffs: calm and relentless. And we're seeing that so far.
Reid, great stuff, man. Appreciate the time. Enjoy the game tomorrow. I'll be rooting against you just because we're here in Vegas, but I'm hoping for a long series because these are 2 teams that I believe the winner of this series represents the Western Conference in the Stanley Cup Final. So I appreciate the time. We look forward to catching up with you again real soon.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
There he is, Reid Wilkins there from Edmonton Sports Radio. It is a final in Boston. The New York Knicks have defeated the Celtics 91-90, outscoring the Celtics 30-17 in the 4th quarter. How in the world did we just witness what we just witnessed for the 2nd consecutive game? We'll break it down coming up next. I'm Scott Seidenberg. It's VSiN PrimeTime right here on the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Scott Seidenberg back here with you on VSiN Primetime, and I'm in shock. I'm in shock. I can't believe what we've just seen. I mean, look, the Celtics system comes home by betting the Knicks team total to go under, so we're happy we cashed that. And I'm thankful that we cashed, some of our, the first half bets and the first quarter, the second quarter bet and the third quarter bet. But the Knicks come back from 20 points down for the 2nd straight game to win. The Celtics 2 games in a row blow 20-point leads. The Knicks were plus 600 at halftime. Plus 600. I guess if all you're doing in these NBA playoffs, first off, is taking the dogs, well, congratulations. Dogs have won 7 straight games straight up in these NBA playoffs. So if all you're doing is taking the dogs, congratulations. If all you're doing is playing the dogs on the money line, well, you are up a lot of money. And if all you're doing is live betting these dogs that go down by 20 points, you are dominating these NBA playoffs. I mean, the Indiana Pacers, for example, they won 2 games in these playoffs, being down by 7 points with 90 seconds left. In the entirety of the NBA playoffs in the last 20 years, teams down 7 points with 90 seconds left were 1 win and 384 losses. But the Pacers are 2-0 this season. 2-0 in these playoffs, down 7 points with 90 seconds left. The Celtics at home just blew 2 20-point leads and lost back-to-back games to the Knicks. The Thunder blew a huge lead against the Nuggets. And we'll see what happens as that game is moments away from tipping off, where I'm looking up to see if there's any been movement on the spread. Let's see, no movement. Oklahoma City -10, total of 229.5, and that game will start in about 2 to 3 minutes from OKC. Thunder 10-point favorites, and I'm on the Thunder in the first half. I know it's taxed, but it's the same reason I'm on the Celtics. I was on the Celtics in the first half. You look at these double-digit favorites. By the way, that is the first loss in the last 23 years by a playoff team that was a 9-point favorite at least and lost and was a 9-point favorite in the follow-up game. That's the first time that has ever happened in the history of the database. Playoff teams were a perfect 13-0 in those roles. But the reason why I loved the first half was because those playoff teams, were outscoring their opponents 55-45 in the first half. And the Celtics took a 51-40 lead into the locker room here in game number 2. So I'm going to stick with it. It was one of the best bets I gave out earlier on in the show, and I'm doing it again here tonight. I'm going first half Thunder. I'm laying the tax. I understand. It's a bad number. It's a bad number because it's all baked in. The zigzag is baked in. The desperation is baked in. Everything's coming here for them to come back, and they're 10-point favorites for the game, but they're 7-point favorites for the first half. I get it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't be that way. They should be 5.5-point favorites, 4.5-point favorites for the first half. So I understand the tax. I'm willing to pay the tax here. Thunder will have a double-digit lead going into the half. That's my bet here on this game. Thunder, first half. And you know what? I wanted to take the Thunder for the full game. I can't do it. Because even if they have a 20-point lead, I don't know if that lead's safe. No lead is safe now in the NBA playoffs. And for the Celtics, as I'm scouring Twitter here, like during the break, I'm reading the tweets while I'm on the air with you guys right now. A lot of Celtics fans are very, very upset with head coach Joe Mazzulla. The Celtics, by the way, all season, they had blown just 8 double-digit leads the entirety of the season. In 82 games, they had only blown 8 double-digit leads. In the last 2 games, they blew 2 20-point leads. Wow. Oh, my goodness. I mean, wow. Updated price on the series with the Knicks up 2-0, going back to Madison. Well, not going, but going to Madison Square Garden for game number 3. Knicks -130 to win the series. Celtics +110. The line for game number 3 at Madison Square Garden coming up on Saturday. So this is an extended break. Thursday and Friday off. They play Saturday. Celtics -5 at the Garden. Now, before this series started, when I bet over 5.5 games, I did not think that the Knicks were going to win 2 games in Boston. I thought the Knicks were going to win 1 game at Madison Square Garden and then just have a chance to steal 1 game somewhere, whether it was winning another home game at the Garden or it was stealing a game in Boston somehow. I just felt like this series was Celtics in 6. But the Knicks up 2-0. I mean, let's take a look at these payouts now. So, if you think the Celtics win the next 4 games, the line's not even out right now, but series spread, that's not out. And I'll tell you right now, there's no even bother placing that bet because you're better off just money line rolling over the Celtics every time. So bet them at minus 200 to win game 3. Roll that over. Bet them at minus 200 or so to win game 4. Do it again, game 5, game 6, whatever the line is. You're probably going to make, in fact, I'm just going to say you are going to make more money than what they're going to offer you on the Celtics to win in 6. But these NBA playoffs have been unbelievable. And I know that, and when I say unbelievable, I don't mean like unbelievable because of like, hey, an absolutely incredible, incredible wins or incredible game-winning shots. No, I mean unbelievable that we're seeing these blown leads. We're seeing things that we've never seen before. And a lot of it has to do, honestly, as I talked about this earlier with our guest Zach Cohn, who joined us on the program, our very own here at VSiN, it's bad basketball. The Celtics missed 45 three-pointers in game 1 and lost that game in overtime by 3. In game number 2, the Celtics went 10 of 40 from three-point range. 10 of 40. So they didn't miss 45 threes, they missed 30 threes. The Knicks went 9 of 31. And when it came down to it, as I'm reading on Twitter here, Joe Mazzulla had Tatum on the bench to start the fourth quarter. Celtics were struggling to score, and they let the Knicks come right back in the game. Knicks outscoring the Celtics 30-17 in that fourth quarter. I already mentioned the run that they went on at the end of the third quarter. At one point, the Celtics had outscored the Knicks 20-9 in that third quarter. As we bet the Celtics in the third quarter. We barely covered. They won 23-20 in that third quarter. But it was an 11-3 run. And then if you translate that push it into the fourth quarter, the Knicks outscored the Celtics 41-20 in that span once the Celtics had a 20-point lead. Celtics blew a 20-point lead, lost the game by 1. Knicks outscored them 41-20. Unreal what we are witnessing here in the NBA playoffs. Will it happen again? I don't know. Thunder are up 3-2 on the Nuggets early on here. Let's just wait till one of these teams goes up or down 20, and then we can place a live bet, because that apparently is just how we win here in the NBA playoffs, right? Just bet the team that goes down 20 here in the NBA playoffs. We'll update you on what's going on there, plus final moments on the ice as we have the Panthers and the Maple Leafs. We've got the extra attackers about to be on the ice here, with Toronto having a 4-3 lead with 3 minutes left in regulation. Want to remind you guys, right now, for a limited time, we are slashing the price of a VSiN annual subscription. Normally just $240, now $199. And when you sign up, we're going to throw in an extra 2 months for free. So that's 14 months of VSiN Pro access for less than 50 cents a day when you use promo code PRO. Get 14 months of our access to daily best bets from hosts and guests. You get the exclusive splits from DraftKings and Circa, 24/7 live video and full show replays on the VSiN Watch app, plus all of our special edition betting guides. Go to vsin.com/subscribe now. Use promo code PRO to lock in 14 months of VSiN Pro for just $199. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. This is VSiN Primetime.
This is VSiN Primetime on VSiN, the sports betting network.
It is a final now in Toronto as the Maple Leafs have taken a 2-0 series lead over the Florida Panthers, winning both games as underdogs on home ice. 4-3 was your final, and it was an exciting moment in the third period. Just seconds after Anton Lundell tied the game for the Panthers at 3-3, literally 17 seconds later, Mitch Marner scores the go-ahead goal. There was no empty netter, but the game goes over the 5.5 total. The game goes over the 6.5 total. If you would have played that, when we talked about it late in the second period, and the Toronto Maple Leafs win 4-3, and we are moments away from puck drop in Winnipeg between the Jets and the Stars, game one, where right now the Jets are a minus 115 favorite. Your total is 5.5. It is juiced to the over. I am on the over in this game, just like I was on the over in the first game. So we're looking for goals to be scored here between the Jets and the Stars. So give me the over at minus 125, minus 130 right now. First quarter action going on right now in OKC as the Thunder have jumped out to an 18-9 lead over the Nuggets. So we played a bunch of things in this game, but the best bet that we gave out was the Thunder to cover the first half line. But it's just, I know I say it jokingly, but if a team goes up by 20, let's just bet that team to win. No, I'm not serious about that, but literally that's been working this entire NBA playoffs, as 20-point leads are not safe at all. The Celtics blowing two 20-point leads in back-to-back games. My goodness, I cannot believe that happened for the second consecutive game, blowing a lead against the Knicks. Wow. And as I talked about, looking at your live series line, the Knicks minus 135. So get that. The team that's up 2-0, that all they have to do is win 2 of the next 5 games. And of those 5 games, 3 of them will be at home at Madison Square Garden. You can get that team right now at minus 135. It feels like a value play. Now, you can certainly take the Celtics on. I wouldn't take the Celtics on the series price now. I would just bet the Celtics on each game and continue to bet them if you believe the Celtics are going to come back and win this series. And they very well could. But it's funny, they were minus 800 favorites to start this series. And I talked about it here on VSiN. I felt like the plus 550 on the Knicks was such a disrespectful price. I didn't play it. I wish I did. But instead, I just played the over 5.5 games, which that was at plus money. And I don't see how that loses now. Unless you think the Knicks are going to sweep the Celtics or win in 5. That would be a shock to me. But if the Celtics come back and win this series, that's 6 games. And if the Celtics just win 2, we're in 6, regardless of who wins this series. But my goodness, 20-point leads back to back, that's the type of stuff that gets you canned as a head coach, to be honest with you. And I know it's not going to happen. Joe Mazzulla won an NBA championship last year with the Boston Celtics, but it's embarrassing. Back-to-back games like that. And, you want to say, all right, the first game, you can kind of chalk it up to the missed 3-pointers. You missed 45 3-pointers in that game, and that's why you lost. You missed 30 in this game. And I get it. This is a team, live by the 3, die by the 3. But I criticized the Oklahoma City Thunder when they blew that lead to the Denver Nuggets. Playoff basketball is different than regular season basketball. And I know it's hard to really attack a team that has been so good. Like the Thunder, historically good this year when it comes to their net rating, when it comes to their scoring margin, and they were the best team in the NBA the entire season. But at the end of the game, when you're up 13 points with 5 minutes left, my criticism of them the other night was that there's not enough possessions left to lose that game. If you just play smart basketball, you can literally milk that game down and win. But instead, they're running up and down the court in transition, shooting threes early in the shot clock that lead to long rebounds and transition baskets for the other team, and that's how you blow a 13-point lead with 5 minutes left. Look no further than the Cleveland Cavaliers, who blow a 7-point lead with 90 seconds left. And that's because they don't box out on a free throw. I just think we have seen, as incredible as the results have been, I don't want people to just be results biased and say these NBA playoffs have been great. The results have been great, right? With these dogs winning. I mean, this is crazy stuff that we're seeing. Historic stuff that we're seeing. The 4 dogs winning in game 1s on the road in the second round here of the playoffs is the first time that's ever happened. And now 7 straight wins for these road dogs. Straight up. And they're double-digit dogs. And they're losing. And they're winning. This is crazy. But how do you blow a 20-point lead? You play bad basketball. You go 10 of 40 from the three-point line. You don't run set plays in a half-court style offense and work the ball inside and try to get to the free throw line. Instead, you take bad shots and you allow the other team to come all the way back in a game. Now, you want to question the officiating? Sure. Did the refs let them play? Absolutely. There were 25 free throws shot in that game in the Knicks and the Celtics. Celtics were 12 of 15. Knicks were 8 of 10. I mean, we're talking about 25 to 30 less free throws than were attempted in game 1, that were attempted in other games that we've seen in this playoffs. So, yeah, the refs let them play. And okay, that's how you get an under game, a 91 to 90 game. But honestly, there's no excuse. The Knicks didn't have a lead until a minute 47 left in the game. That was when they took their first lead. They outscored the Celtics in the fourth quarter and halfway through the third quarter, 41 to 20. 41 to 20. I'm going to get you the exact moment of the game when that run started. It was when the Celtics had, let's see, they had, what was it, 60 maybe? Or 70? Let's see. So the run started, third quarter, Celtics led 57. No, it had to have been the 60 mark. Yeah, it was 60 to 50. But no, even before that, the run had started. Because, yeah, they started the quarter. It was 50 to 41, so they were up 9. And then they went up, 57 to 47. They were up 10. And then they pulled away 61-48, 61-50, 68 to 50, up 18 points. And there it is, 70 to 50 when Kristaps Porzingis made his dunk. With 4 minutes left in the third quarter. That's the moment. There it is. From the 4-minute mark of the third quarter to the end of the game, the Knicks outscored the Celtics 41 to 20. And that is how you take a 2-0 series lead on the road. And congratulations for you betting a team to come back down big or just taking the money line. Woo! My goodness. And just the amount of just betting on the money lines on these teams, these dogs to win. But just betting them if they're down by 20 to try and come back, my goodness, wow. Absolutely insane. Insane. All right, we've reached the 4-minute mark of the first quarter here in OKC as the Thunder have a 25-11 lead on the Denver Nuggets. Your live line right now, OKC minus 16.5. Your live total is at 228.5. Hey, Nuggets on the money line are plus 550. Why not, right? And we are underway in Dallas in Winnipeg. Stars and the Jets just a minute or so into this first period. No score. We are on the over 5.5. So let's see how this first period plays out. Maybe we have some second period bets or some live bets as this first period does progress. I'm Scott Seidenberg. You can hit me up on Twitter at ScottsOnAir, ScottsOnAir. Hit us all up on the network at VSiN Live. I know I joke and I say, hey, Nuggets plus 550, but honestly, from what we've seen this entire postseason, nothing shocks me anymore. Absolutely nothing. Plus, we have to update you on what's going on in Major League Baseball as we have some games coming down to the wire, including free baseball in the Bronx. This is VSiN PrimeTime right here on the Sports Betting Network.